Okay, let us get started. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Employability, Creativity and Personal Development, the second half, lectures 5 and 6. Great to see you all. So here is the QR code. Please register your attendance if you haven't done so. So we are coming towards the end of November and we are coming towards the end of the semester. It's passing so quickly. And the lockdown is almost over. So I suppose this should feel good. Next week, next Friday, we'll be free and we will be able to enjoy, hopefully, cafes and restaurants once more again. So hang in there and keep creating your assets, keep working on your asset creation project. So let me kickstart today's lecture. Welcome all, great to see you all. Today, the theme is Improvised Lives. So I'll be presenting a creative workshop on improvising. And the title is called Improvised Lives. So here's our agenda. We will have quite a lot of exercises. How can improvised living improve our quality of life? So we will practice improvised writing, improvised imagining, improvised drawing, etc. We'll have a couple of exercises on these, and we will also talk about a little bit about future generations and climate emergency as well. So as I start, here is what I would like to say. Creativity is no longer a luxury. It is a critical survival skill that you need to adapt to rapid changes, solve complex problems, imagine new possibilities, and navigate uncharted waters ahead of you. So we all need this. It is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. It has become a critical survival skill. So I define improvised lives as lives defined by a sense of adventure, curiosity, exploration, and spontaneity. So it is built on a sense of openness. Improvised living requires a playful mode of continuous learning, intense curiosity, asking questions, embracing chaos and uncertainty, thinking and problem solving beyond borders, experimenting and making mistakes, and entrepreneurial active. So if we do these things, we will be able to improvise our lives. Think about how you might want to improve these and incorporate these into your life. So in a practical manner, you can do automated writing, doodling, drawing, ideating, imagining, creating techniques, and we will do some of them today. So, but it is time to say new things, fresh, original, innovative things. Okay, here's a puzzle, the first puzzle of today. Upstairs, downstairs, and the basement. Art therapy and inequality. Landscape rock and other metaphors. Fates entwined hilariously and horribly. The sad, sad flow of water. A dystopia that we live in. A discretionary tale of gasps and twists. Surprise, surprise 92. So I just tried to write a poem kind of, but what does it represent? It is actually a movie, right? Which movie is it? Of course, it is Parasite. As you know, this past year, South Korea has won the Oscars for the first time. After 92 years, this is the first time that a non-English language film, a different film, international film, took the Oscar, which was a remarkable achievement. So let's remember what was this movie about. If you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you do.
나도 봐. 공짜로 집안에 소독도 하고. 부모님 얼굴도 뵙고 좋더라. 건강들 하시고. 이거 없으셔. 네가 내 대신 얘 과외 선생님 좀 해줘라. 영어. 대학생인 척하라는 거야? 불화를 좀 치지 뭐. 이 좋은 실력으로 왜 비제는 맨날 떨어지냐. 아이씨 죽을래. 저는 이게 위조나 범죄라고 생각하지 않아요. 참으로 시적절하다. 부자들이 원래 참 잘 속아. 사모님이 뭐랄까. 풀타임으로 수업 어떻게 하시는지. Is it okay with you? 우리 다송이는 완전 예술가 재질인데. 팬티를 그린 거죠. 자화상이에요. 역시. 그동안 미술쌤도 여러 명 바꿔가면서 해봤는데요. 제가 사람 하나가 휙하고 떠올랐는데. 아 잠깐. 제시카, 외동딸, 일리노이, 시카고. 선배는 김진모, 그는 이사촌. 주전대 착하다니까. 진짜 니가 착한 거지. I'm deadly serious. 근데 지금 진짜로 이상한 게 온 것 같아.
So a question to ask, a reflective question, is how can you address inequality as a wicked problem, as a future leader in business? That's one of the biggest questions of this century, as inequality keeps to get bigger and bigger, especially between the rich and the poor. Remember our last lecture, it's the Kosh lecture, we went over master classes and we had a workshop on heroes of entertainment and imagination. I want you to choose, just to remember, top 3 or 4 of them. Which figures did you find most useful or interesting from the last class? Please choose 3 or 4 of them and write them down. Who were your heroes or who were really inspiring? Which cases were most inspiring for you? Please choose 3 to 4 of them. Okay, so Einstein says imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination encircles the world. Knowledge is limited, yes, but imagination, it encircles the world. Therefore, imagination is much more important than knowledge in creating innovation. So that's why in your asset creation project, you need to use your imagination. So let's talk a little bit about asset creation. Remember, we covered these in the last class. I want you to look at these takeaways from the last class and choose top 2 in this slide. Which ones are most useful to you and how can you implement in your life? Please choose 2 of them and take a note. What will you do? Okay. Let's continue with the next one, which is most crucial here. Please take a note. Choose top two again. And what do you need to do? How do you implement this in your life? Please take your notes quickly in the next 1 minute. Okay, the next one. Please again take notes. How do you implement these in your life? Choose two of them. Okay. And please choose two of them in this one as well. And take note. How do you implement these in your life? Okay, try to wrap it up, please. So my message to you, treat this academic year as your year of asset creation. You need to work regularly, consistently on your individual project for the second half right now. So I think you have already made your decision and you already have a clear idea on your mind. Please start creating it. Have you chosen 7i project, which is like a Kickstarter type of project, more artistic, more creative, or have you will you do the entrepreneurial business proposal, which is like a more Shark Tank type of project, where you are trying to essentially build your own business? So which one are you doing? And have you created some ideas? And today, hopefully, I'll assign you into teams so that you can discuss your ideas and perhaps learn from each other, your asset creation projects. But I want you to work regularly on your asset creation projects. Spend some time on this every day. If you spend about 1 hour, you will work consistently until December 15. And in your portfolio, in your project, you will have a really well-developed asset creation project. So if you want to build, let's say, your YouTube channel, do it right now. Do it right away. Start uploading your videos. If you want to, let's say, write on Medium, go right away, publish your blogs. One of your friends already has done this. Actually, I had the joy of reading his articles on Medium. So like, go on Medium, start writing your articles if this is your thing, if you love writing, if you love online writing. So whatever you want to do, please go ahead, do it right away, and then reflect on the process and capture your learning, okay? And go over the 7 parts in your report. What did you learn from this? Remember that you need to show us your journey. Let's say if you want to create a YouTube channel, let's say, give us the link of your YouTube channel, and it should be open to public. You should have at least a couple of videos uploaded there. The same with your podcast. Let's say you want to do a podcast. You need to do at least one podcast and upload it on the internet, and come up with your title and branding, etc., and have your first guest on your podcast, or you do it yourself as you wish. But do something immediately and share it with the world, please. The same with Medium or other projects. Okay, well, let's say you want to write a book. Again, start writing it as a blog, share it online, and see what happens. Okay, so share it with the world. Don't keep your projects closed. Okay, we want you to share them immediately with the world. Let's say you want to create your own business. Try to create a prototype web page right away, even if it is not perfect. Okay, so try to imagine yourself as a one-person company or artist or an entrepreneur, and go for it. Okay, so don't think like a student. Do this as a lifetime project, and do this for your own future. Really, this is the only module that you have the luxury of doing something for just yourself. Create something exciting and fresh, and do something that you love doing. For this, I want you to apply this exercise now. Please respond to these 3 questions on your unique strengths. Number 1, what do you see that others don't see? Please write it down. What do you see that others don't see? Come up with some bullet ideas on each question and write them down. Number 2, what are your unique strengths that set you apart from others, other people around you? And number 3, what are the things that only you can bring to the world? So please come up with some bullet points and write them down quickly in the next 1 minute. Capture your ideas and write down your ideas, please. Try to wrap it up, please. Okay, so how will you go forward in your asset creation project? Austin Kleon has amazing books, such as the Still Like an Artist book. If you want to, be creative, his books are great. He says, draw the art you want to see. Start the business you want to buy from. Play the music you want to hear. Write the books you want to read. And build the products that you want to use. This summarizes it so well, actually. So whatever you want to consume, you need to produce it. You need to go to the producer side, supply side. How can you make this happen? Think of yourself as an artist and as an entrepreneur, and just create it, just do it. That's the mentality, that we need. And think about how you will do this in your project. Benjamin Hardy's post, remember I posted you this. Do you want to become a multimillionaire? Do these 15 things immediately. Have you read this article? If you haven't, please click on it, please read it, and do the things. Do these 15 things immediately. Read and reflect on how you will apply each principle in your life. And these principles will also help you tremendously in your journey of asset creation. So you can immediately use them for your project as well. Okay. So please read it and apply it. Now, let's do an exercise, which is automated creative writing exercise. Here is the exercise. So what I want from you is get a notebook with some empty pages. Get your notebook and get your pen or pencil. What we will do is I will give you some keywords, okay? And you will do this for about 7-8 minutes or so. You will do some creative writing, okay? So this is your creative writing exercise, but here is the mentality. I will give you some keywords, anchor phrases, okay? Here are the anchor phrases. An adorable red cottage. The dark ocean was rising. It is okay to jump off the cliffs. A glorious escape. Those were magical times. What if there's a better way? A mysterious door opens and a yellow squash. Now, there are, 8 different phrases. Please choose one of them. Choose your anchor phrase. Which one is most appealing to you? Please choose it and write it down on your empty page. Whichever you have chosen, please write it down. Which anchor phrase have you chosen? Write it down, please. So what we will do, you will practice non-stop writing for about 8 minutes or so, okay? 8 minutes. So whenever you are stuck, you will come back and write down your anchor phrase. So your anchor phrase will bring you to the page and it will keep you going. It will help you keep your momentum. Okay, and here are the guidelines for your writing. When you are writing, don't ever judge your writing. Writing is just playing, okay? Go with the flow. Don't judge, don't even think too much. Don't judge your writing, just keep writing. Your goal is to never stop writing, okay? Just continue keeping writing. You can write nonsense, you can write boring stuff, you can write repetitive stuff, anything. Do not evaluate. And show up. Your hands will do the work, okay? Don't interfere too much. Imagine that your hands have their own imagination. So just move your hands and trust your hands to do the job of writing, okay? Embrace uncertainty. Try to surprise yourself when you are writing. Be open to surprises and never stop writing, okay? These are the rules. So please start writing with your anchor phrase. Whenever you are stuck, you will write down your anchor phrase again and again, okay? And continue writing in between other things. And but the important thing is keep it flowing. Keep writing without stopping, okay? So your pencils and your notebooks are ready, okay? Let's start. Now you have about, let's say, 8 minutes, non-stop writing. Start with your anchor phrase. You can create a story or creative, any form of creative writing is fine, okay? Just don't stop writing, keep the flow. Trust your hands, trust your imagination. Whenever you're stuck, you will write down the anchor phrase again and continue from there, okay? Okay, let's start writing. So the important thing here is never stop writing. Keep it flowing. And whenever you're stuck, come back, write your anchor phrase. Okay? Keep writing. Keep writing. And all the exercises we do today, they are all learning adventures, okay? So you can include them as your learning adventures as well. Any exercise. Okay, please keep writing. Don't stop writing. And come back to your anchor phrase whenever you're stuck. Write it down. Please keep writing. Don't stop. Don't evaluate your writing. Just keep the flow, keep the momentum. Don't stop for more than 3 seconds. Just write your anchor phrase when you're stuck. Keep writing, please. Okay, please try to wrap it up in 2 minutes. Keep writing. As you see, this writing exercise is very powerful. You get the momentum. It gets you flowing with new ideas, wild ideas. Just keep writing and keep the momentum. Keep it flowing. Keep your momentum. And never judge your ideas. Don't think too hard. Leave yourself to your hands. Trust your hands. Your hands have their own imagination. Just keep writing and see what happens. Be open to surprises. Try to surprise yourself. And whenever you are stuck, always come back to your anchor phrase. Do this in your creative writing as well. It's an incredibly powerful exercise. So apply this. Come back to it after our class. But you can also apply it in your own writing. Whenever you are writing something, practicing some creative writing, you are writing a story or a poem, etc. You can always apply these principles, and it is a lifetime skill to apply. So use these principles, use these techniques whenever you are writing creatively. And remember, you are improvising. You are also exploring, discovering it on the page. Writing is a form of highest level of learning at the same time. As you are creating, building new words, you are also learning a lot, and you are pushing your brain, and that's very valuable. Okay, so let's continue with puzzles a bit. Who was the highest paid celebrity in 2019? Any guesses? Okay, it was Taylor Swift. This was the Forbes highest paid celebrities list in 2019. As you see, these are the usual suspects. Yeah, Taylor Swift, Kylie Jenner, Kanye West, Messi, Ronaldo, some sports people. Yeah, Ed Sheeran. J.K. Rowling is the only author among these celebrities who was paid highest. And quite a few of sports people, as you can see. Okay, so Taylor Swift has released this documentary. If you haven't watched this, it's on Netflix.
In this history, some people will always have slight reservations about you. Whether you deserve to be there, whether your male producer or co-writer is the reason for your success, or whether it was a savvy record label. This was the decade when I became a mirror for my detractors. Whatever they decided I couldn't do is exactly what I did.
This year's rankings have changed slightly. So number one is Kylie Jenner in 2020 with and she makes enormous amounts of money, obscene amounts of money. it's very difficult to keep up with Kardashians and Jenners, of course. Kanye West, you can see Federer, Ronaldo, and Messi in this year's rankings. But in this year's rankings, there was a new climber.
Attention. His voice is strong and healthy. I went through a big phase where I used to rate this over and over again.
Is it hard to protect that truth thing that started it all?
You first get on the stage and ego comes rushing in. And it goes, don't mess up. And then about 30 seconds in, you go, oh yeah, I'm just a guy and I love music. Time to surrender. There you go, starting. It's pretty intense all the time. But this isn't a story about a famous musician. This is a story about a guy growing up. I used to be like, my idols were born legendary. That's just not the truth. If I tell the world that I'm just a normal human, are they gonna stop like coming to the shows? Yeah, I'm doing a little too much on stage. Close my eyes, close my eyes. Maybe I should pretend that I'm Superman for a little bit longer. I wonder what it's like to be loved by you. How do you get to the end of a very, very intense year? I wonder what it's like.
Okay, I'll stop here. Here's the next puzzle. Who's regarded as the dance messiah and probably the best DJ in the world. His net worth 75 million. You probably know him, David Guetta. What about the highest paid athlete in the world? He's a global football star. You have seen him already, Messi. And as you can see here, the world's highest paid athletes are listed here. Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, and Alvarez, Federer, LeBron James is among the list as well. Stephen Curry as well. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, cool. The next puzzle, she's one of the top actresses in Hollywood. She loves alternative medicine, pseudoscience. She created a new brand. It's a very controversial lifestyle company, a brand called Goop. And her brand is valued at $250 million. Who is this Hollywood actress? Of course, Gwyneth Paltrow. And this is her Netflix show. It's called the Goop Lab.
Shot. Everyone gets off. What the fuck are you doing this April? What we try to do is explore ideas that may seem out there or too scary. Are you guys ready to go out in the field and make a ruckus? Just another day in the office. I had an exorcism. Oh, wow. I went through years of therapy in about 5 hours. I started to feel like a panic attack coming on. She knew something that my husband didn't even know. You want to talk about the vulva? Being in a room with a bunch of women, I don't know if I've got. You've never seen yourselves? No. Why not?
This is dangerous.
It's unregulated. Should I be scared? We're here one time, one life. How can we really milk the shit out of this?
He is really milking the shit out of this. It is a huge economy. Global wellness economy is more than 4.32 trillion. It was in 2017. Right now, it's much bigger. It is, I think, more than 5 trillion now. So if you see and look at all this personal care, beauty, anti-aging, wellness, fitness, body, mind, healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, etc., all of them combined, it is one of the biggest sectors in the world that you can tap into. So some of your asset creation ideas, maybe you want to touch upon some of these topics, some of these trends. Feel free to create brands or value in these sectors as well. Here's a puzzle. Adam Bowen and James Monsees, they met at Stanford. They were studying product design. They achieved success by tapping into an addictive habit. They invented a new product line, and they even invented a new verb, right? This controversial company soon became worth more than 30 billion. And then what happened? Altria invested in them. Who is Altria? They are one of the biggest evils, public health villains in the world. They invested 12.8 billion in this company for 35%. Which company is this? Of course, it is Juul. They invented e-cigarettes and vaping. So they are these guys who started this trend of vaping. And who is Altria? Altria are the Marlboro makers. You know, they are the biggest cigarette company in the world. So how do you prevent evil? They just invest in lesser evil. Okay, so they just invested in Juul, which is lesser evil compared to the big evil. Okay, the next puzzle. At the age of 65, this business leader announced on social media that he would take 65 challenges during his 65th year, and he has done all the challenges, all the adventures, and documented them on his company website. Who is he? Any guesses? Of course, he is Richard Branson. And if you go to Virgin Company's website, you will see 65 challenges in my 65th year. This is a wonderful list that involves adventure, creativity, and personal branding. So I recommend that you read this article. He announced it, Challenge Richard, hashtag, and there were a lot of suggestions. And he finished them all, you know, all 65. So here are some of them. Sit quietly, do nothing was one of them. And each of them is a blog post, by the way. You can click on them and read them as well. Share 65 defining moments in your life. So imagine, you know, in your next birthday, let's say, imagine that you will also do as many challenges as your birth year. What would be these challenges? You can adapt some of them. For example, if you will be 22, let's say, next year, what will be your 22 moments, defining moments in your life? Or what would be your 22 lessons you learned in starting a business or managing a business, you know, or on your career? So you can also, you know, look at these challenges and also come up with your own challenges for your own upcoming birthday. Okay, so that's a great way to foster your creativity. Okay, so here's the next exercise. It is improvised automated imagining. So look at this poster. What if you can do 10 times what you're actually capable of? Sorry, you're just doing 10% of what you're actually capable of. Let's imagine that you are trying to do 10 times more. So let's say you can dream 10 times more. You can achieve and do 10 times more than what you do currently. So what would you like to do? And how could you reach your 10 times potential, you know, 10 times your current capabilities? How can you expand yourself? And remember, your best moments, your best projects, your best artwork, your best masterpieces, collaborations, inventions, they are yet to come. You will create them. What could they be? And please imagine, write down top 5 things that come to you. Write them down in the next minute. And think of ways of achieving 10 times more. What if you're actually capable of much more than what you are currently doing? What if you are underusing your talents, your capabilities, your imagination? Can you multiply it by 10? And how can you do that? Think of some wild experimentation and ideas. How can you push yourself, scare yourself? So just write down your actions, please. 30 seconds. Okay, the next one. Please look at this list. What if you could, let's say, do this? You create 100 ideas every day, etc. Look at this list, skim through the list here, and please choose 5 to 6 actions. You can also create your own, inspired by this list, and write them down. Write down concrete and small action points you can start doing right now in the next 1 minute. Look at the list. How can you implement some of these? And which ones can you do? And how do you start right away? Please take notes. Please wrap this up in 20 seconds. Okay, the next puzzle. She is one of the most influential qualitative researchers in the world. She wrote 5 New York Times bestseller books. She spent 2 decades in studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. She has her own podcast. She is the first researcher to have filmed a lecture on Netflix. This Netflix lecture is called The Call to Courage. So who is she? And she says, owning our story, loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. So who is she? Any guesses? Of course, Brené Brown. She is one of the, she's the only academic who has her own show on Netflix.
I think we're going to have some fun, talk about some hard stuff, laugh a little bit, and hopefully learn something from each other. How many of you know that I'm super introverted? It's handy when I'm traveling because I'll be sitting next to someone and they'll say, so what do you do? And if I'm not in the mood to chat, I'll be like, I study shame, what do you do? They're just like, nah. How many of you want more love, intimacy, joy? True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. You don't measure vulnerability by the amount of disclosure. Live tweeting your bikini wax, not vulnerability. I'm not going to bullshit you. Vulnerability is hard, and it's scary, and it feels dangerous. But it's not as hard, scary, or dangerous as getting to the end of our lives and having to ask ourselves, what if I would have shown up?
So this is her lecture. You can watch it. It's an amazing lecture. So she says vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. So if you want to be creative, you have to start with vulnerability. And these are her TED Talks. We don't have time for these, but you can watch them on your own. The power of vulnerability and listening to shame. Both are great talks. Okay, in the next part, here is your exercise. Here's the prompt. You take yourself way too seriously in this life. Number one, how can you lighten up? Please come up with some strategies, write them down quickly. Number two, how can you use more humor, improvisation in your life? Number three, how can you mock yourself? And number four, how can you break a few rules to create authenticity, vulnerability, surprise, color, or novelty in your life? Okay, so please take your notes, go over each of these in the next minute, and create some practical action points. Respond to each. Come up with practical action points. Write them down, please. Try to wrap up in 20 seconds, please. Okay, the next one. To live a memorable life, you need to be more open and more vulnerable. How do you do that? So please think of some action points for each of these. Think of one action point for each. How can you scare yourself every day? Think of one action point, please. Write it down. How can you be more vulnerable and courageous every day? How can you challenge yourself today and every day? And how can you be more open to spontaneity, adventure today and every day? So please come up with one action point for each, one idea for each, but implement them this weekend and starting tonight, okay? Please write them down. 30 seconds. Please finish in 30 seconds. Okay, the next puzzle. What's the relationship between Pixar and 22? Any guesses? Of course, you can Google this to learn. Pixar's 22 rules of storytelling is the answer, if you know these. So I want you to look at these 22 rules of storytelling that Pixar uses. As you know, they make some of the best movies in the history of cinema through animation. So these are their storytelling rules. I want you to look at these 22 rules and which ones are your favorite? Please choose your top 3 or 4 among them. Which ones did you like best? And perhaps you can apply them to your own storytelling, to your own writing. So choose the ones that you like most, write them down. So please choose 4 of them and write them down. Write them down. Try to wrap up, please. Okay, the next puzzle. Netflix's fashion competition reality series. What is it? It is similar to Project Runway, but Project Runway is continuing for 18 seasons, so it is a bit old now. And Netflix has introduced their own fashion show. What's it called? Next in Fashion, it is called.
Hi guys! Hello! Welcome to Next in Fashion. Yes! We're scouring the earth for some of the best designers in the world. I've watched apple bottom, rockaware, and
I work for Dylan McCartney, moved on to Alexander Wang.
but who amongst you is a household name? That's exactly why we're here today. Net-a-Porter will award the winning designer $250,000 with the opportunity to retail their designs. This is my chance. This is my opportunity. I think I need more thread than this, babe. Hello, Twinkle Toes. Who is your muse for this challenge? You.
Okay, so the next challenge, automated imagination. I ask this one again because nobody has chosen this challenge. I was a bit disappointed that nobody chose it, so I want you to do it in class. So if Netflix asked you to create your own show, what would you do? Please create your own show in the next 1 minute, just to try some ideas. What would you like to do? Let's say you have enough budget, okay? What would you like to create? Would you like to create a documentary, drama, interviews, reality show, lifestyle show, food, fashion, mystery, science fiction, business, technology. What kind of a show would it be? Put it a name, give it a title. Try to give it a creative title, please. And what will be your goal in this show? Please write it down. What will be different, unique about your show? Please write down your ideas. What kind of a show would you like to create? Give it its title. And what type of a show will this be? Please write down. Capture your thoughts. Think of a title which will capture attention. And what is original about your show? What is unique about your show? Think about that. Please write down your ideas as they come to you. And know this, these are not just dreams. You can put it into action. You can just build your own YouTube channel and create your own show. You don't need Netflix to do that. You can kickstart your own show on YouTube right away. You need just a few moments. Create your YouTube channel, upload your show. Voila, that's it. You can start it right away. You don't need permission. You don't need Netflix. You can do it on your own on YouTube. The trick here is to start small, think simple, and you will improvise. Keep learning on the way. Just kickstart something and learn it on the way. Keep improving and share your journey of learning and development with your subscribers. Share your journey of growth. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start somewhere. There will be some people who will love your YouTube videos. So do it for them. Just start it. Okay? So think about this more and try to apply it whenever you can. But start on YouTube maybe. But in the long term, you can also do something with Netflix, as long as you have the audacity and details and you can apply it, implement it. You can also work with Netflix. It's not a far-fetched idea. You can do it. It's a matter of dedication and building your dream, really. Okay, so please do this at home. What you will do next is you will make a list of all the things that you actively denied yourself the experience of trying. So why do we deny ourselves these experiences? Have a look. I want you to have a look at this list. Which ones have you denied yourself? And what else? Please just write top 3. You can choose from the list here as well. What did you deny yourself? Please write them down now. Just choose top 3 or 4. Yeah. Write them down. And then think about how you can make some progress on these. What can you do? Can you take some small actions to make it happen? Write them down. Okay, 30 seconds. Just wrap up your thoughts. Okay, so this is at home. You will do it later on. What you will do is you will make a list of all your hopes, dreams, exciting possibilities that will give you hope. You can create a concept map, a thing of projects that excite you. You can give titles, brand names to your projects. You can keep a tile, collect everything that excites you, keep a folder on these. You can kickstart some small projects, put them in action right away. So the key is to start small and to start right away. You know, I'll try this, experiment with this, and see what happens. Like all these big artwork, these masterpieces, they all start with small steps, really. So please do this at home. But what matters, my overall message is you need to protect your egg. This egg represents your dreams, your career, your values, principles, your creativity, and your imagination. Protect it and cherish it at all costs, whatever happens. You know, we live in a dangerous world. There will be hurricanes, storms, blizzards, unexpected events, black swans, misery, sorrow, etc., uncertainty. Still, you need to always protect the egg. That's your job, you know. How do you do that? Whatever happens, you need to cherish it. You need to protect it. You need to grow it. Okay, so that's your job. How can you do that? Ask yourself. And keep a journal on this as well. Keep a diary on this. Always write down your dreams. Revitalize them, revisit them. And protect them, cherish them always. Don't give up. And don't let it be broken. Never. Always protect your egg. Okay, here's the next puzzle. Here's the Renaissance person. He's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a writer, producer, director, musician, DJ, he's everything. He released a video called This Is America. It's a provocative, critical song and music video, and it has won 4 Grammy Awards. And it depicts gun violence and being black in the United States. He was chosen to Time 100. Who is he? I think you know him already. Donald Glover or Childish Gambino.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
So, how did he become such an icon?
I'd like to, this 34-year-old American actor, comedian, writer, director, producer, singer, songwriter, rapper, and DJ can't seem to miss lately. Within the past few weeks, Glover has hosted Saturday Night Live. The season finale of his critically acclaimed show Atlanta aired. He's been doing press junkets for his role in the new Star Wars movie as a young Lando Calrissian. And perhaps the biggest accolade of all, absolutely everybody has been talking about his new song, This Is America. It's garnered well over 100 million views in its first couple of weeks of being out. Critics are raving, and it just ended Drake's 15-week run for #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. But how did this Renaissance man get to where he is today? Let's run through a quick timeline of Donald Glover's life, career, and see just how he got to be the biggest, most beloved name in show business.
Okay, I'll stop here. You can watch it. The next one, the matrix challenge. Here is your challenge. In the next 5 minutes, what you will do is get a pen, pencil, paper, and here's your challenge. It's the matrix challenge. You will try to come up with at least one idea combining each of these, okay? So you will fill out the matrix, okay? So that's your challenge. On a piece of page, try to go beyond your first ideas, most obvious solutions. You will come up with at least one business idea. It can be a product, it can be a service, but you will combine them, okay? So for example, cats and cooking. So you can obviously come up with, you know, fresh food for cats. You can, like it can be a restaurant for cats, etc. Like come up with ideas, just have a list of them, okay? So you do it for each of them, okay? You populate the table. You can be ridiculous, funny, but go beyond the most obvious. Don't judge your ideas. Don't give up. If you have difficulty finding 2 to 3 ideas for each one, try doubling it, you know. Why? Because your brain flourishes when you challenge it. Give it puzzles. Give it challenging goals. Always give your brain really challenging goals, you know. If you have difficulty in finding 2 to 3 ideas for each box, then double it. You know, try to come up with 5 ideas. Okay. Okay, let's do the challenge. In the next 5 minutes, your challenge is how many ideas will you be able to create? Combining these. You can combine any of these. Just keep writing. The more ideas, the better. And make a list of all your ideas. Remember, your goal in the next 5 minutes is to maximize the number of your ideas, okay? And you can combine any of these. Cats and hammock, for example, hats and hammock, dance and hammock, and romance and hammock. So you can choose any of these, cutting hair, and again, you can combine with all of these, okay? So creativity is combining unrelated things together, right? So that's your task. Your task is combining unrelated things really fast. So keep writing your ideas, please. You can choose any of these squares, okay? You can choose any combination. If you're passionate about something, let's say cats or hats or dance or romance, start with whatever you're passionate about. It'll flow easier. But don't stop. The trick here, the key thing here is just to keep writing, keep creating ideas. Force yourself, force your brain to come up with ideas. Even though they are ridiculous, that's okay. Don't judge your ideas. Just write them down. So the key here is try to come up with at least 7 ideas each minute, you know. So in 5 minutes, you should have at least 30 ideas, ideally, you know. The more ideas, the better, remember. So these can be products, services, it can be a business idea, it can be a web page, it can be a new asset, it can be anything really. Keep writing. Just 2 minutes left. Please wrap up your ideas. Keep writing. The more ideas, the better. I hope some of you have 20 ideas or more by now. Or at least 10 ideas, 15 ideas maybe. Now keep writing. Try to maximize. Remember, that's our goal. Maximize the number of ideas and keep writing. So the key thing here is you need to give your brain a lot of puzzles every day and try to solve these puzzles. Push your brain. Last 1 minute. Just try to wrap it up, please. So if we were in class, of course, for each of these puzzles, I would normally give you a lot of chocolates and gifts for your for doing these challenges. Unfortunately, you know, you are at home and I cannot bring these chocolates to you. But if you have done this matrix challenge, please, you can feel free to reward yourself a good chocolate, you know, for your efforts and for your creativity. And please continue this exercise later on after the class. You know, can you increase the number of ideas? Can you come back to it? Let's say spend 10 more minutes, and then how many ideas can you come up with? Try to increase the number of ideas. And also, you can change the words in this matrix. You can come up with your own words and do this exercise again with fresh new words. You know, like give your brain a lot of puzzles like this so that you improve your creativity. Okay, so please continue doing this exercise. It's very rewarding. So as we move on, I'll talk a little bit about future generations. Here's the next puzzle. which problem is the greatest problem that faces, that challenges future generations? What's the greatest problem that we face for our future generations? Think about your kids and your grandchildren, maybe. What will be the greatest problem? Of course, it's climate emergency and global warming. Even Leonardo DiCaprio has dedicated himself to this.
We've known about this for decades, for over half a century. Try to have a conversation with anyone about climate change. People just tune out.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
And the problem seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. No. Oh my God! Look at how violent that is. Paradise that has been degraded and destroyed. We're knowingly doing this. I just want to know how far we've gone and if there's anything we can do to stop it. The U.S. has been the biggest emitter of greenhouse gases in history.
You're a fossil addicted country. We are doing more investment in solar today than the US is.
I think it's politics. People are so arrogant to think they can change climate.
The environmental issues have become the biggest reason for mass demonstrations. We want to hold them accountable.
This is the most important issue of our time. The question is, can we change our course in time?
You need 100 gigafactories to transition to sustainable energy.
That would make the United States
The whole world.
The whole world.
Full energy.
That's not manageable.
All that I've seen on my journey shows us we have the means of stopping this devastation.
Politicians do what the people want them to do. Once the American people are convinced, the politicians will fall in line very quickly.
Are we and all living things we cherish our history?
So you can watch another one, Ice on Fire, as well. But a great one is, of course, is this An Inconvenient Tickle. It is a great documentary if you haven't watched it.
Speaking of global warming, we need some global warming. It's freezing.
He's an idiot. I'm so glad he's gone.
Criticized scene in the movie An Inconvenient Truth was showing that the combination of sea level rise and storm surge would flood the 9/11 memorial site, and people said, what a terrible exaggeration.
Hurricane Sally slammed into New York City last night, flooding the World Trade Center site.
Storms get stronger and more destructive. Watch the water splash off the city. This is global warming.
I'm still so scared. Sorry.
Despair can be paralyzing, but this to me is the most exciting new development. We're seeing a tremendous amount of positive change. The basis is there, but it's still not enough.
It's crunch time at the climate change conference in Paris. Still some really tough negotiations going on.
What would it take to shift to renewables? I'm talking about breaking the impasse. Virtually every nation in the entire world agreed to get to zero greenhouse emissions. It is unprecedented.
It's time to put America first. That includes a promise to cancel billions in climate change spending. Our plan will end the EPA.
The next generation would be justified in looking back at us and asking, what were you thinking? Couldn't you hear what the scientists were saying? Couldn't you hear what Mother Nature was screaming at you? This movement is in the tradition of every great movement that has advanced humankind.
We're not going to recognize it. We don't want to discuss it.
So, if Trump is Goliath, of course, blinded by greed, who represents youth wisdom with clarity? Of course, Greta. Greta is one of the most influential people in our times, despite her young age, and this is her attack on world leaders, which was remarkable.
The goal on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams, my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Oh, how dare you! About is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you! How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you.
So she started this movement by herself, and as you know, in 2018, when she was 15, she decided not to attend school. If the planet had no future, she argued, there was no point in studying. So she started these school strikes, which are continuing every Friday. And they are still continuing. And it is a very powerful movement now with millions taking part, especially young people. So she started this movement alone. She was alone, but look at the scale right now. Millions are supporting her in her journey. So the ice caps are melting down, and my hypothetical children will never see them. But I also have a calculus test tomorrow. This is the burden of this younger generation and the next generation coming up. So the biggest problem that the younger generation feels is climate anxiety today. And psychologists are talking about this. Climate anxiety is one of the biggest depressions of today. And if we run the risk of global warming, then there will be a rise of 26 between 77 centimeters in sea levels and a rapid increase in extinction and food, water shortages, and of course extreme weather events. So we are not just stockpiling wealth, we are also stockpiling disasters. And these are some of the scenarios. If everything goes worse, then the whole ecosystem can collapse. It might collapse, and biodiversity might collapse. So that's why they are called, Extinction Rebellion. So we need a new understanding, a new generation and a new understanding. And I think there has to be a new standard, a new generation, a new understanding, and it has to replace capitalism. So this is a business class. I'm teaching you management, yet I'm talking about the end of capitalism. We must end capitalism. You see how the world is changing, and the kids recognize that. Capitalism has been using up human resources, natural resources, rather than building a better society, and it must stop. So how will you address this wicked problem as a future leader, this climate emergency? Think about it. It is the biggest problem of our times. There is no bigger problem. So if we look at these generations quickly, as you know, we have the greatest silent generation, and then baby boomers, and then Generation X. Generation X is about 1.5 billion right now. And then millennials. Millennials are born in 1981 and 1997. And then Generation Z, 1998 to 2016. Okay, so these are the generations. And as you can see, you are also a member of the Z generation. Yeah, you are the Z generation. You have seen the rise of artificial intelligence, right? We are just at the start of the era of artificial intelligence, and AR and VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, So what about the next generation? You know, we had generations X, millennials were generation Y, and then we had generation Z. You are generation Z, yeah? What about the generation after that? What comes after you? What comes after X, Y, and Z? Which letter represents the next generation? Any guesses? Born after 2010. So the generation after millennials is called Generation Z. Yeah, we are wrapping it soon. Yeah, it is called Alpha. So the new generation is called the Alpha generation. They are the scariest generation. Why? Because they are about 5 years old right now, or 6 years old, but they are extremely intelligent, very aware. And they are called a metal rock band name, you know, Gen Alpha. So what are the names of generations that come after Alpha? Beta, Gamma, and Delta are the new generations. So Alpha generation is born between 2010 and 2024, okay? And then in 2025, we will start having Beta generation. Until 2040, we will have the Beta generation. And then in 2000, we will have the Gamma generation. Sorry? The Gamma generation. And then after 2055, we will have the Delta generation. Okay, so these are the names of generations, upcoming generations. We don't have any name after 2070 yet. Okay, so we kind of ended there for now. So of course, there have been a lot of articles on this. Millennials and Generation Z move over. Here comes Generation Alpha. So there are more than 2.5 million Generation Alphas born globally every week. When they are all born in 2025, they will almost be 2 billion. So they will manage the future. You know, they are in primary school right now, or they haven't even started primary school. They are the most educated generation ever, and they are the most technologically advanced generation ever. And they are also the wealthiest. Why? They will experience artificial intelligence, robotics, 5G, Internet of Things, and space travel. So they will experience this new age of technological marvels. They are born into it. So they will be extremely advanced in technology, and they will be the next generation of entrepreneurs and startups. They will start unicorns, which will be billions, trillions of dollars of value. They will create these new companies. But these new companies will also be sensitive to the environment. They will create much more sustainable technologies. And they will stop destroying the earth. And they will do this with the help of these new technologies. So they were born in 2010. 2010 is the year iPad was introduced, Instagram was created, and app was the word of the year. They already interact with Alexa. They talk with Google Assistant. And they're also called Generation Glass because they're always looking at glass, their screens. So the biggest celebrity of Alpha generation is not Michael Jordan nor Taylor Swift. Who is the biggest celebrity of this Alpha generation? Of course, they are now kids. So this is a YouTube channel having 24 million subscribers and 112 million net worth. Who is this channel? Who is this person? Ryan, of course. Ryan's Toys Review. So Ryan's worth. This child, yeah, he is the biggest celebrity of the Alpha generation. They are very small right now, of course. But Ryan's world is the leader of this generation, you know. Okay, so the next part, I'll leave these to you. Think about the future. The future will be complicated for sure, and it will be weird, and it will be full of new technologies, artificial intelligence, tectonic shifts, global interconnectedness, yes, mass immigrations, and a lot of progress and innovations, hopefully. So these are some of the issues of today. I prepared this poster. Have a look. So we have a lot of wicked problems. You can see the problems at the center here. At the top is climate emergency, yes, but also inequality, global economic crisis. Right now we are in the midst of pandemic, right? And global depression. And there are many problems like these: wars, decline of democracies, racism, etc. Automation and loss of jobs are some of these, human rights violations, etc. But we are also experiencing one of the biggest innovative times in history. You know, we experience all these mega trends and mega innovations. Think about them. You know, the rise of the East, we are talking about these, right? Sharing economy, gig economy, crowdsourcing, attention economy, explosion of information, Industry 4.0, Internet of Things, self-driving cars are coming to our roads, AI is transforming the world, machine learning will transform the world. We are entering a new world of robots, algorithms, and machines. Blockchain is a big trend. So virtual reality, augmented reality, space travel, digital learning, and neural laces, brain-machine interfaces. These are some of them. So how do you really adapt to this new world, and how do you solve these wicked problems using some of these new technologies? That's, I think, the big question. You know, if you can figure that out in the next decade, you know, this is a decade-long question. You know, which ones are you really passionate about? Which problems do you wish to solve in the next decade? Think about the big picture. And then how can you solve them using the power of these new technologies? Think about that. And that will be your, you know, big challenge and biggest contribution ever. So you can do this through moonshot projects. Moonshot projects are bold, ambitious, holistic, based on problem solving and based on your own assets. So you will create new systems, new platforms, big ideas that build on your strengths and passion. So which problems do you need to solve? Think about that. Think about the interconnection of these. Your strengths, your passions and curiosities, and the problems that you'd like to address. So if you can find the intersection, then you can make your biggest contribution in this new era. And some of your biggest contribution will be about Millennium Goals, Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. So if you can tackle any of these problems, you will make your biggest contribution. You know, each of these 17 problems are the biggest challenges ahead of us, defined by United Nations. So you can learn more about this, but Peter Diamandis, I recommend you follow his work. He has an amazing book called Bold, How to Go Big, Create Wealth, Impact the World. So I recommend that you read this book as well. It's an amazing book on these new technologies and how you can create wealth using these new technologies. Okay, I'll skip some of these parts. They are obvious. You can experiment with them. But now I want you to do this exercise in 1 minute. Get a new white page in front of you. Get your pencil or pen. There should be an open page, an empty page ahead of you. Open an empty page, please. And now I want you to close your eyes in the next 40 seconds. Do some random drawings. Move your hand. You don't look at the paper, okay? Close your eyes. Just move your hand and your pen or pencil on the empty page through random movements without looking, okay? So please move your hand. Don't look. Close your eyes. Just move your hands in the next 40 seconds. Get your empty paper. Close your eyes. Move your hand. Do some random drawings. 20 seconds. Your eyes are closed still. Okay, now open your eyes. Open your eyes. Look at what you have drawn. Look at your random drawings. Now, in the next 40 seconds, I want you to find a pattern or multiple patterns among your chaotic drawings. Is there anything that you recognize? Ah, this looks like a sheep, or this looks like a star, whatever. Like, go over the patterns, try to find some patterns among what you have come up with. Okay, so what could be some of these patterns? Go over them with your pencil. Identify these patterns. Go over them with your pen or pencil. And then in the next 1 minute, you will create your abstract art now. Remember that art thrives on chaos. It thrives on emergence. If you give up control, then you can create better art sometimes. So that's what we have done. We didn't even look at the paper. But now your challenge in the next minute, create your abstract art, okay? Try to turn it into an art. Whatever you come up with, turn it into an abstract art, please. Do some touches. Do some finishing touches. Try to add on things that will turn it into art. Your goal is to create this abstract art. "30 seconds. Create your art. Okay, now I want you to give a title to your artwork. What is the title of this artwork? Give it a short description. This will be your artist description. Maybe you can tell a story about it, or you can incorporate a philosophy into this. It can be something abstract, okay? Just write a short description, 2 to 3 sentences. This will be your artist description, okay? Describe your artwork in your own words. You can come up with a story or a philosophy, okay? Write it down in the next minute. Give your title and describe your work. Is there a philosophy? Is there a story behind this? Write it down. Did you give a title? And think about your description. Come up with some bullet points or write it down. 30 seconds. Okay, as you can see, I mean, this is a very simple random exercise, but you can do these random drawings, random exercises all the time. You know, next time you can use your non-dominant hand perhaps, or you can do something else, you know, constrain yourself, try something new, and then turn it into artwork. You know, do these exercises in your life. I created another drawing exercise. Do this at home. So what you will do is you will not wait or think. Do this whenever you have the time. You will just create your own drawings, random sketches in each box. Your hands should flow and they should do the work. Don't evaluate, criticize your work. Okay, just do it. So do this at home. Another challenge is there are lots of circles here. You will come up with an object or a for each of them. So think of a different object for each of them and quickly draw it. So do this in 10 minutes. The more ideas you come up with, the better. That's another challenge that you can do at home. It is a great fun challenge, by the way. You can create as many ideas as possible. Everything is a circle, yeah? You will turn each of them into a different object. Okay, so this is your challenge to do at home. Like this one. But don't look at this one. First do it yourself and then look at this one. Okay, the last part is just for fun, life and employability on Mars. So by which year does Elon Musk's SpaceX aim to send the first astronauts to Mars? Any guesses? What's the plan? Which year? 2024. That's the year. America's budget includes a Mars mission. The goal is to bring back samples from the red planet. For which year is this NASA plan? America's plan for which year is this? 2026. Okay. So here is the next puzzle. How many people does Elon Musk wish to send to Mars until 2050, until mid-century? How many people does he wish to send to Mars? Any guesses? 1,000? 10,000? 100,000? So he says 1 million. So of course this is over ambitious, but he says he plans to send 1 million people to Mars by launching 3 Starship rockets every day and creating a lot of jobs on the red planet. So that's his plan. So Forbes has written an article, will your next job be on Mars? Creativity is also very important in Mars. Why? You need to be creative, of course, isolated from the distractions of the Earth and challenged to come up with solutions to problems on this new planet. Mars will be a pressure cooker for innovation. So inhabitants will be free to innovate without any bureaucracy on Earth. You know, so there is no bureaucracy. Whatever you do, just try to survive and be creative. So how long does it take to go to Mars if everything goes all right? From the Earth to Mars, how long does it take? Any guesses? When I asked this last time in my class, many students said 1 month, 2 weeks, etc. No, it's much longer, 7 to 8 months. Okay, 7 to 8 months, but it's not simple either.
How do you get to Mars? If you want to send a spacecraft all the way to Mars, first you'll need a fast rocket to escape the pull of Earth's gravity. The heavier your spacecraft, the more powerful your rocket needs to be to lift off. Next, make sure you launch at the right time. Mars and Earth orbit the sun at different speeds and distances. Sometimes they're really far apart, and other times they come closer together. About every 2 years, the two planets are in perfect positions to get to Mars with the...
So we have every 2 years the only chance that we are converging, you know. You got this chance just here, not later, not earlier.
Least amount of rocket fuel. That's important. The total trip is over 300 million miles. Finally, make sure your aim is right. You can't shoot for where Mars is at launch time. You have to aim for where it will be when you get there. It's a lot like how a quarterback passes a football. Also, you may need a few thrusts to correct your direction along the way so you don't miss Mars.
Okay. So how long is 1 year in Mars? We know that it is longer than the Earth, yeah, because it is at an outer orbit, right? But how long? How longer? Any guesses? How long is 1 year in Mars? It's not the same as Earth here, right? It's different. We know that it's different. It should take longer, yeah. So it is 2 years actually, yeah, 687 days. So 1 year in Mars is 687 days. So almost, you know, like the double, almost double. So let's say there is a Mars colony. How do we communicate with them? Which technology do we use to communicate with them? So this should be the holoportation technology, which means virtually placing people in the same room. Okay, this is a great TED Talk. I recommend you watch it. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but watch it. This is about our future human life in Mars. How will we survive? We need oxygen, we need food, we need to breathe, yeah, we need to drink water, etc. Like, how do we survive? And of course, it is too cold in Mars. It is -50, -60. How do we like heat ourselves, etc.? All these challenges is an engineering challenge, and this guy talks about these challenges, and he says your kids might live on Mars. Here is how they will survive. So finally, this is a great article that I have read. 6 mind-boggling things I have learned about the future by reading 100 science fiction books. Have a look. This is about the future, space, especially as we go on to space travel, and as we go on to discover the outer world. You know, when we go out from the solar system, when we are set out to go to new stars, explore stars, etc., you need hundreds of years with, you know, to go to Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri is the closest star system, right? But in order to go there, with current technology, it takes 400 years to go there with current technology. So the distances are vast. How do we tackle that? And what can we do about time? Time is another different matter. So have a look at this article. It's an amazing read on the future. And there is so much to learn on this. Okay, so I included these videos. Have a look at them. These are amazing by Kurgesast. So, and do this exercise at home. Create your own philosophy. After watching the videos, come up with your own philosophy. What do you think about our place in the universe? Do you think there are other extraterrestrial beings out there? And what is our purpose? What's the meaning of all of this? And where are we going in the future? So think about these and write down your own philosophy. This was my own ramblings, random ramblings. So you can write your own as well. Okay, I'll stop here. We will talk more about Mars in the upcoming lectures because it is such an important part of our zeitgeist. You know, we are about to become a multi-planet species. And I think it's important that we acknowledge and read and learn much more about the universe. I also included this improvisation games as well. And you can see the takeaways here, okay? So all the takeaways are listed here. So to solve wicked problems, you need to think beyond borders, beyond disciplines. Invest in yourself and your learning. That's the biggest investment you can ever make. Think about where you will be in 10 years and act based on that vision. And always use improvisation in your life to increase adventure and quality. You can do automated writing like we have done today. You can do automated drawing, doodling. You can do automated storytelling, ideating, designing, creating, dancing, singing, anything. Like, take a risk, scare yourself, do it right away. It's never too late to follow your interests, curiosities, and passions. Show up for creative work. Use small anchors, random prompts. That's it. Start small. Small is always beautiful. So think bigger. Expand your curiosity. It's not only about finance, HR, etc. The world is so much bigger, and you need to understand the future of technology as well. Be a polymath, an individual who can know about lots of problems, lots of issues, draw on complex bodies of knowledge, become a multidisciplinary person, become a polymath, but also become an autodidact. So teach yourself, initiate your own learning, your own adventures. Okay? So cross boundaries, there are no borders. Go out of your comfort zone to learn outside your discipline and think and act wider. So remember, like this lecture, it was improvised. You know, I learned about all the things on these slides in the, in just 2 weeks. So I had to reduce it as well. So all the traditional rules of curriculum, throw them out on the window. Come up with your own learning plan. Education as usual is dead. Long live lifetime learning. Assume your own responsibility for your own learning. So be curious, learn on yourself. So find your own path. The future will be very different. Think of where you will be in 10 years. Dream your big dreams, and then how can you go there? How can you navigate uncharted territories and create your own categories where you can thrive? Think about that. Think and work beyond disciplines, beyond borders, and create your own assets. That's the main message again. Imagine that you have 1 million words inside you and write them every day. Imagine that you have 1,000 artwork pieces inside you. Unleash them every day. Imagine you have 1 million ideas to decipher, to develop, to share. And go give yourself the opportunity to do 5,000 experiments. Then you will be much more successful and you will create your own renaissance in life. I'll stop here. Thanks a lot for your patience. I'm sorry that today we couldn't finish, we couldn't discuss. So sorry about that. We couldn't discuss the asset creation projects, unfortunately. I'm trying to finish coursework still. I'm still doing the grading. I will finish it hopefully early next week, and then it'll go on to moderation. So sometime, hopefully before next Friday, we will be releasing your grades. Okay. So you'll attach just two of the learning adventures in any of these. Thanks a lot, everyone. And thank you for your patience. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday and Tuesday in our new seminars. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.